Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Scale with Simplicity. So excited to see you all here. So I think we are up running on all platforms. We are multi-streaming this, and it takes a little bit of a time to connect to all the platforms. So welcome to session 3 in the Scale with Simplicity live series. And this series is built to take you behind the scenes of running high converting virtual events to attract the right kind of audience, build our list, sell our offers, and claim our category of one. So for you who don't know me, my name is Angela. I'm a virtual event sales expert. And what we do is that we help our clients sell their offers in the capacity one to many by building high converting virtual events. So we do webinars, we do masterclasses, we do challenges, workshop, and live launches. And we are not only using the virtual events to sell our offers, we also use them to grow our list. We use them to claim our category, and we use them also to save a massive amount of time so our clients can build a business that actually works for them and not the other way around. So last week we talked about clarity in your messaging. We talked about how to attract the right people by speaking directly to that person. So we do not fill any kind of virtual events with the wrong people. Okay, so before we kind of dive in today, I just wanted to quickly do a recap where we kind of left off, since this session builds on that session. So we talked about fixing the front end of your virtual event. So we talked about why your event doesn't convert if your message doesn't connect with your dream client. We talked about how to operate in your dream client's reality. We talked about how to speak directly to one person instead of trying to please kind of everyone. Because if your message is off, you are going to build the wrong room. Okay, because your message in the front end, it's what's going to build the room in the back end. And if the right people don't show up to your virtual event, your offer, your delivery, your presentation, it will not land, right? So if you missed last week's session, make sure you go back and watch it, since what we do today is building on what we talked about last week. And also go back and look at the first session where I share my story and why I so strongly believe that running virtual events, selling your offers in the capacity one to many live, is superior to a lot of ways out there when it comes to scaling your business, okay? But today we're going to continue. So we're going to talk about how to become irresistible in your space, how to go from kind of being another face in the feed and becoming the first name people think about when they are ready to invest in what you help people with. So, and it can also be that someone hear another person talk about what they need, and the first name that pops up is you. Okay, that is what we are aiming for. That is why we run signature events. So we built one event and we run it over and over to make sure that we stay on top of mind of people, to create that category of one, to claiming that space in the market. So we're going to talk about what top of mind awareness. We're going to talk about how we actually can create this. And top of mind awareness means to stay visible, not go visible once or twice, right? But over and over again, continue to stay visible for the right kind of people, okay? That is what makes people come back. That is what makes people think about you all the time. And that is what's going to make you the go-to person in your category, because you show up everywhere all the time. You create this top of mind awareness. We call it also create everywhereness. Okay, that is our word. We want to create everywhereness. And that doesn't come from going viral once. It doesn't come from creating trendy content once. It comes from clarity. It comes from consistency. and it comes from frequency. So what I want you to write down is that a confused mind says no. So what happens usually when we try to create top of mind awareness, we start with one topic, one dream client, and then we don't see the traction of that we are after, or we post one here, we wait one here, and we kind of don't see anything happening, so we change. And what happens when we change? We start over and over and over every time we change our messaging and all those things that we are doing. So what happens is that when you want to create top of mind awareness, it's not about showing up once, it's about showing up over and over and over again. Because what happens is that people start discovering you, they start following you, they start checking you out, and they are there for a couple of months, and all of a sudden you change. And they think, oh, you weren't for me. I thought you did this. Now it's this. I don't get it. That person is not going to say yes because they get confused and they don't know what you're all about. Okay? So your job is to remove confusion and to repeat, repeat, repeat. Because the only one that is going to get bored of your content is you. Okay? The only one's going to get bored in what you do is you. And running the reps and stay consistent and frequent is going to be key. Not only in when you show up, right? But also how you show up and the message that you show up with. And a virtual event helps you do this, a signature virtual event helps you do this because it helps you always be in a cycle where you show up, where you post about your event, where you show up talking about this topic, when you go live and share your energy, your excitement. And that is going to help you create this top of mind awareness. So that is the first thing. The second thing is to focus on brand over transaction. Okay, so most people are very focused in instant gratification, quick wins. I think we are all guilty of that somewhere, right? But we can still see it. A lot of people are focused on quick wins, instant gratification. And if they don't get instant gratification, they change. Okay? And they chase the sale at any cost. They want to fill their programs at any cost. And then they just move on. And if they don't see that quick win, that instant win, they change and they do something else. Okay? But if you want to build a business that actually lasts, you need to play the long game. And I know that sometimes that can be easier said than done because it's very easy to look at what other people are doing and see what they get out of it and try to change what we do because we see someone else. But what happens is that the people that you already start checking you out, they now get confused and they move on. And every time you start over, you go a little bit backwards before you go forwards, which means if you start over multiple times, you almost stand still in your growth. And your brand is your reputation, right? It's the feeling people get when they see your name. It's the energy that your brand kind of represent. It what turns clients into advocates, what turns followers into raving fans, right? And if you look at category leaders online, they care more about their impact and the legacy than they do focusing on the next sale, the instant sale, the instant gratification. And when you lead with your brand, when you lead with how you want people to see you, how you want to show up, the people that you want to work with, your energy, your messaging, your entire personal brand, sales becomes easier because people trust you, because they have seen you showing up over and over again, bringing what you got to the table, caring about people, thinking long term instead of short term, play on the level of legacy and impact instead of the level of instant gratification. So they already trust you. So when they come into your event, when they sign up, You already built trust with them. And we all know that trust is your biggest currency. And the reason why we run virtual event is to build the like, know, and trust. So we have the trust enough to ask for the sale, right? So with this, actually, it's going to help you convert clients in the back end of your virtual event, okay? And people invest in people they trust, period, okay? And we talked about it last week. People invest in people they trust, people invest in people. And people don't just buy the result anymore because there are tons shit of things out there. They don't just buy the result. There are a massive amount of result they can choose from. They invest in your personal brand. So they say yes to themselves and they invest in themselves, but they let you lead them because they trust you, because they are invested in your brand, what you are all about. Okay? So by creating this top of mind awareness and stay consistent and stay frequent, it's going to help you have built trust before they even come to the event. Okay? And that leads us into the third part, which is that frequency and consistency always wins the day. Okay? Always wins the day. Because there's a lot of things that people don't talk about, right? There is no magic post. There is no magic webinar. There is no magic one-liner that is going to change everything for you. The win is in the frequency and the consistency, not only in when you show up. It's all about the messaging, the branding, the topic, all that consistency and frequency. So what I encourage you to do is to set a routine. Set a routine, and inside, when we work with our client, we have a specific routine that we call the visibility boost, the power hour, where we set a routine that our clients follow every single day. So set a routine, stick to it. And that is usually what is the hardest part. Actually, it's to stick to that routine. But if you just start, you will learn to stick with it, okay? And then you run the reps of that again, again, and again, over and over and over every single day. So set a routine, stick to it, run the reps. And this is why people burn out and keep starting over, because a lot of people chase a lot of trends. The next thing, right? What should I do now? Oh, now you need to do this. Now you need to do that. Oh, on Instagram, you need to use 5 hashtags. No, tomorrow you need to use 7 hashtags. Now you need to do short video. Now you need to do long video. Now you need, you always chase. That is kind of stressful thing, right? Very stressful. They chase trends. They even chase algorithm, right? How can I do to fool the algorithm? I want to fool the algorithm. I want to write on this. Oh, now they change. And we know that the algorithm, especially on platforms like Instagram and Facebook, change. I mean, how should you keep up? It's going to burn you out, right? But category leaders, they stay focused. They don't jump into trends. They stay focused. They build trust through simple, repeatable actions. Okay? Because when people see your face, hear your message, feel your energy, consistent and frequent, that is what's going to build the top of mind awareness, the everywhereness. Because people are going to see you everywhere if you just stay consistent and frequent. They're going to hear your message everywhere if you stay consistent and frequent. Okay? And it's not about chasing trend, because consistency and frequency overrides fads and trends and all the algorithm or whatever, right? So those are the kind of 3 things that I wanted to talk about, because if you can do these 3 things, your virtual events is going to skyrocket inside of the event, the conversion, both in the event, but also in the back end, where you upsell and downsell to different kind of offers that you have in your offer suite, okay? So I have a little action that I want you to do today. And it doesn't take long. I just want you to go on your social media. We talked last week also about the front end. One of the front ends is your profile. Because when you start posting about your webinar or masterclass or challenge, whatever that might be, what are people going to do? Click on you. Okay? They're going to click on your name. If you post in a Facebook group, they're going to click on your name. If you post on LinkedIn somewhere, they're going to click on your name. If you post on Instagram, they're going to click on your name, right? They're going to click on your name. Where do they end up? On your profile. And I can see this all the time. So when people come into our world wanting to create a virtual event and they are going into the part where we do lead generation, and they go out and do lead generation with a profile that is not optimized. So what happens is that they see the post, they click on the name, and then they think, what? I don't get it. You are not for me, or I don't see that you're an expert. I don't see that you talk anything about this topic. I don't get it, right? And a confused mind will say no, they're not going to sign up. So I have 4 questions that you can take with you. Go to your profile and ask yourself, will the person that comes from my content, click on my name, be able to see the answer to these 4 questions? And this you can look or sometimes monthly. Just go and check because it can change. And your kind of energy might change and you might pivot a little bit, whatever. So kind of use this once a month or once every quarter to go back and just check your profile. Number 1, what do you stand for? What is your thing? That is your personal brand, right? What do you stand for? I'm not talking about colors and things. I'm talking about you, your story, your conversion story, right? Why do you do what you do? What is this? What is it behind? There is something you stand for. Second thing, who do you help? If you help only product-based entrepreneurs and not service-based entrepreneurs, make sure it says product-based entrepreneurs. Those kind of thing. Who are you for? If you only work with women, let it say, I work with women. If you work with men, say, I help men. Okay? Make it super clear. What is the result that people get when they work with you? What is the result that people get when they work with you? And what makes your way of doing it different? If you watch the first of these sessions that I posted, you can hear my story. There is no question that I don't strongly, in my heart, in my soul, believe that running virtual events is a superior way of scaling with simplicity, without spending more money, without spending more hours, okay? Actually cutting down on the hours that we spend online without having a huge audience. There is no question. And I want you to have that kind of story because your entire business, the way that you help people is going to be tied back to your conviction and your beliefs in what it is that you help people with. How do you take them from A to B, and how is that different compared to everything that is out there? Okay? So take those 4 questions. What do you stand for? Who do you help? What is the result that they are going to get? And what makes your way of doing this, take them from A to B, different compared to everybody else? Bring your personal things, your personal beliefs and conviction into this, okay? And that is kind of your first step. And then I want you to remember that repetition builds trust. Clarity, consistency builds conversions, okay? And repetition is frequency. So repetition and frequency is going to build the trust. The clarity and the consistency is going to build conversion, okay? And this is especially important when you run virtual events. Even if they're going to feel you inside of the event, you need people to come into the event. You need signups. If we don't have any signups, no one is going to be in the room anyway. So that is why this starts in the front end. And next week, we're going to continue. We're going to talk more about virtual events. We're going to go into content. We're going to go into lead generation, building your virtual event, sales, all those kind of things. So make sure you come back next week. I also want to take this opportunity to invite you to our upcoming 3-day training that I host. and that run June 9 to 11, and June 9th to 11th at 5 p.m. Central European Time. That is 11 p.m. Eastern Daytime. And we're going to share exactly how you can sell and how you can scale your offers and your business using virtual events. So I'm going to share the link inside of the comments. And in just 3 days, we are going to talk about how you can own the room, sell to many at the same time with one powerful presentation, not 10. We're not building 10. We are building one powerful presentation, one signature event. So we can say goodbye to chasing and convincing or whatever it is that we are doing and attract the right perfect fit people. And no more kind of guessing, kind of switching and guessing a little bit, kind of winging it like that. We're going to implement a proven kind of a three-part structure to actually build a high converting event that converts. We're going to talk about sales, how to sell without feeling pushy or slimy or sleazy or whatever, how to build this urgency that moves people into taking action. We are going to talk about how to have the right content inside of your event. So we don't have content that, how can I say, unconvert people, right? I usually say that you can't sell a how-to course with how-to content anymore because the accessibility of how-to content is huge. You want to build decision-making content that works for you, not the other way around. So we're going to talk about that. Without this chasing trends, without this having huge audiences, hours on social media, having a large team that runs stuff, solopreneurs can do this, okay? And I have done virtual events since 2017, since 2020. That is the only thing that I have helped our clients do. I have done it all. I have seen it all. I have tested it all. So come and join us. The link is in the comment section. It's a free 3-day virtual event. Okay, so thank you so much for this session, and then I will see you next week when we continue on this topic. So thank you everyone for